When you're staring at a room full of potential tech upgrades, it's easy to wonder whether you're about to spend a lot of money on something that will end up gathering dust. That hesitation is real, especially when the product promises a massive 86-inch screen, 4K clarity, and the ability to turn an entire wall into an interactive whiteboard. I'm going to walk through the practical side of using a Samsung interactive display of this size so you can decide if it actually fits your classroom or conference room, or if it's a luxury you can live without. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First, let's talk about the environment where this kind of display shines. In a high school science lab, teachers often need to pull up videos, annotate diagrams, and switch between multiple sources without losing momentum. The Samsung 86-inch model runs Android 11 right out of the box, which means you can launch apps, browse the web, or launch a collaborative whiteboard tool without a separate PC. In practice, that translates to a teacher walking up to the screen, pulling up a chemistry simulation, and using 2 fingers to rotate a 3D molecule while a third hand highlights a reaction pathway. Because the system handles those tasks natively, you avoid the lag that sometimes shows up when you're running a Windows PC through a separate HDMI cable. For business teams, the share up to 9 screens claim becomes a concrete advantage during strategy meetings. Imagine a product launch briefing where one side of the room is watching a live demo, another side is scrolling through a live sales dashboard, and a third side is reviewing a slide deck, all visible simultaneously on the same surface. The built-in software lets you tile these sources without juggling multiple laptops. In my experience, that reduces the friction of switching inputs and keeps the conversation focused on the content, not the cables. Now, what does setting this up actually look like? The display comes with a USB-C dock, which is a nice touch because it consolidates power, video, and data into a single connection. In a typical office conference room, you can connect a laptop, a streaming stick, and a document camera all through that dock and still have HDMI ports available for legacy devices. The real hidden trade-off is the wall mounting. An 86-inch panel weighs a fair amount, and the mounting bracket needs to be securely anchored to studs or a reinforced metal frame. If you're in a leased space where you can't make structural changes, you'll have to factor in professional installation costs. That's a cost that isn't obvious from the headline price, but it's part of the total ownership picture. Let's break down the audio side, because a built-in speaker on a display that size might sound like a gimmick. In a medium-sized classroom, say, 30 students, the speakers are loud enough to deliver a clear voice when a teacher is narrating a video, but they start to strain when you try to play a full-band music track. If you need rich, cinematic audio for a presentation, you'll still want an external sound system. The point isn't that the speakers are bad, it's that they're adequate for speech and light media, but not a replacement for a dedicated PA. Touch responsiveness is another area where the real-world test matters. The panel supports 20-point multi-touch, which feels smooth enough for a group of students to gather around and collaborate on a single sketch. I've seen teams of 4 simultaneously dragging objects on a mind map without noticeable ghosting. However, the touch surface does register a slight latency when you're drawing fine detail lines. Think of trying to trace a complex circuit diagram. If your use case hinges on pixel-perfect drawing, a dedicated graphics tablet might still be the better tool. Who should seriously consider this display? Schools that run a blended learning model, where digital resources are as central as textbooks, will get the most bang for their buck. The Android platform means you can pull in free educational apps, and the large surface area reduces the need for multiple monitors in a lab. For businesses, mid-size companies that hold regular workshops or client presentations in a fixed meeting room will benefit from the seamless screen sharing and built-in collaboration tools. The value proposition is strongest when you have a consistent location where the hardware can be fully utilized day after day. Who might want to skip it? Small startups that only need an occasional presentation probably won't justify the ceiling mount installation and the space a wall-sized panel demands. If your team is fully remote or relies on personal laptops for most tasks, a portable 4K monitor or a projector could achieve the same visual impact for less upfront cost. Also, venues with tight ceiling heights may find the 86-inch footprint too imposing. You'd have to sacrifice valuable wall real estate or risk a less than optimal viewing angle for anyone not seated directly in front of the screen. On the downside, the Android ecosystem, while convenient, can feel limiting if you need specialized software that only runs on Windows or Mac OS. You can plug in a laptop, but that introduces